Have you ever walked into the home of someone in their 70s or 80s and felt an immediate sense of calm, as if the walls themselves were whispering peace? There's no strong smell of bleach, no pile of cleaning supplies in every corner, just a warm, airy, effortless feeling. Everything seems to have its place. The cushions are fluffed, the table is clear, the kitchen sink shines, and not a single item feels out of place. And you wonder, how do they do it? At that age, shouldn't daily upkeep be more difficult? Shouldn't cleaning be a chore? That's what most people assume, until they learn this simple truth. Spotless homes in old age aren't kept clean with strength or time. They're kept clean with quiet discipline, built through decades of wisdom. This is not about scrubbing floors or spending weekends in cleaning marathons. It's about gentle rituals practiced daily that keep the mess from ever growing in the first place. And in this video, we're going to uncover two of those quiet habits, hidden strengths used by the elderly to maintain order not just in their homes, but in their minds and lives. If you're over 60 or care for someone who is, this could be one of the most helpful reflections you'll hear today. And if you're under 60, learning this now could change the next 30 years of your life. So stay with me, not just to learn how to keep your home clean, but to discover a deeper kind of freedom, peace, and control. Before we begin, I want to invite you to like this video and subscribe. This channel is a space for elderly reflections, senior health guidance, emotional well-being, and life lessons from the elderly, all grounded in real experience. Your support helps us bring more meaningful stories and advice to seniors and their families across the world. Now let's begin with habit 1. What might just be the most underrated move in a senior's day? Habit: never leave a room empty-handed. This one is so simple it almost sounds silly. And yet it's the quiet cornerstone of every tiny home I've ever visited. Seniors who live in calm, uncluttered spaces tend to follow this one principle without fail. Never leave a room without taking something with you that doesn't belong there. It's not cleaning, it's moving. It's noticing, it's respecting the space you live in as you live in it. Let me share the story of Irene, a 73-year-old retired librarian who lives in a small but beautiful one-bedroom home in Oregon. Her shelves are lined with novels. Her kitchen always smells faintly of cinnamon tea, and no matter when you drop by, you'd be hard-pressed to find a misplaced shoe or an overflowing trash bin. When I asked her what her secret was, she smiled and said, "I never leave a room empty-handed." That's her wisdom, but what does that look like in daily life? Imagine Irene is sitting in the living room sipping tea while reading a magazine. Once she finishes, she doesn't just stretch and walk away. She picks up the cup, takes it to the sink. She brings the magazine back to its shelf. As she heads toward the bedroom, she notices a sock on the hallway bench. Grabs it, drops it in the laundry basket on the way. No drama, no to-do list, no effort, just presence. This tiny habit creates what psychologists call cognitive closure, the sense that your environment is under control, that you're not drowning in unfinished business. And it matters more as we age. According to senior health experts, clutter in the home contributes stress, poor sleep, increased fall risk, and even cognitive decline in older adults. But Irene doesn't need science to tell her that. She feels it. Her routine, repeated a dozen times each day in tiny moments, keeps the clutter from ever taking root. She's not chasing after messes. She's quietly outsmarting them. Habit 2. The 2-minute rule. Now let's talk about another small but mighty habit, the 2-minute rule. It works like this. If something will take less than 2 minutes to do it now. Not later, not when I have time, right now. And if you think this sounds familiar, it's because you've probably heard it in self-help books or motivational talks. But here's what they don't tell you. This habit, when practiced in senior life, doesn't just build productivity, it builds peace. Meet Walter, 76 years old, a retired auto mechanic from North Carolina. He's not the kind of man who enjoys folding laundry or rearranging throw pillows, but his home is always surprisingly orderly. You ask him why, he shrugs. If something takes 2 minutes, I just do it. Wipe the sink, toss the mail, rinse the plate. I don't let things sit. But powerful, Walter's habit is backed by neuroscience. When you complete small tasks immediately, your brain releases a small dose of dopamine, the completion chemical. That feeling of done reduces anxiety and prevents that overwhelming sense of everything piling up. For seniors, this matters more than ever. Energy becomes limited, stamina fades, and the emotional burden of a cluttered space can be heavier than the physical one. That's why the 2-minute rule works so well. It prevents big problems by tackling small ones early. It's not about being perfect, it's about keeping up. Every day, Walter does small things that keep big messes from forming. He folds the blanket when he gets up from the couch. He hangs up his coat instead of laying it over the chair. He wipes crumbs off the counter right after breakfast. No fanfare, no big cleanup days, just moments of mindfulness repeated with care. And over time, those moments build a home that feels safe, peaceful, and manageable. What Irene and Walter both teach us is that you don't need strength to keep a home clean after 70. You need rhythm. That's the essence of elderly wisdom. Not brute force, but thoughtful repetition. Not cleaning harder, but living more intentionally. These small acts, repeated daily, offer more than a tidy house. They offer something seniors crave most: autonomy, comfort, control. They are the life lessons our grandparents lived by, and now they're yours to embrace. So ask yourself, do you already follow one of these habits? Could you start the other today? Because while clutter sneaks in quietly, so does peace. And it starts with small actions, done with love. In the following section of this video, we'll explore 2 more habits: how a simple nightly routine can transform your morning, and why it's better to focus on key areas of your home, not every room. These next 2 ideas might save you more time, energy, and frustration than you thought possible. Let's talk about mornings. The quiet ones, the slow ones. The ones where you wake up, walk into your kitchen, and everything is exactly as it should be. The sink is empty, the counter is clean, the chairs are tucked in. The day begins not with chaos, but with calm. Now compare that to waking up to yesterday's mess. Dirty plates in the sink, papers on the table, the living room still bearing signs of a restless evening. Which version of the morning gives you peace? Which one fills you with motivation? This brings us to habit 3, the nightly reset. Seniors with effortlessly tidy homes rarely wake up to a mess. Not because they clean for hours, but because they perform a small ritual each night. A reset, not a choice. Let me tell you about Dorothy, a 69-year-old former school teacher who lives alone in a modest 2-bedroom home. Every evening just before bed, she does what she calls her quiet walk. She doesn't rush, she doesn't scrub, she simply walks through each main area of her home: the kitchen, the living room, the hallway, and gently restores order. She places the remote back in its tray, she wipes down the kitchen counter, she folds the throw blanket on the couch, and straightens the pillows. She makes sure the dishes are done, the curtains are drawn, and the lights are dim. The whole ritual takes no more than 10 minutes, but the impact, immense. Dorothy says it best: "I do it for my morning self." It's like leaving her a gift. That's what the nightly reset is, a gift. It's a way of saying tomorrow matters, and you deserve to begin it with grace. Psychologists call this a future self habit, an act of care you do not for now, but for the version of you. It reduces anxiety, boosts emotional stability, and even improves sleep. For seniors, these few minutes of gentle order bring a sense of control, which becomes more precious with age. It's not about perfection, it's about beginning each day with peace instead of overwhelm. Now let's move into habit 4. Focus on your high-use zones, not your whole house. One of the most powerful forms of senior wisdom is knowing where not to waste your energy. Seniors who keep their homes feeling clean without burning out know this secret. You don't have to clean the whole house. You only need to protect the spaces you use most. Let me introduce you to Raymond, a 77-year-old widower who lives in a 3-bedroom ranch-style home. He'll be the first to admit, his guest bedroom is a mess. The attic, even worse. But step into his kitchen or his living room and you'll wonder how he keeps things so tidy. The answer? He doesn't clean everything. He only maintains what he uses. Every morning, Raymond wipes down the kitchen counters, clears the table, and gives the sink a quick rinse. His living room, but his guest bathroom hasn't seen a toothbrush since Christmas. And that's okay, because the house doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to feel good. Seniors like Raymond understand something many younger people forget. Cleaning isn't about appearance. It's about peace, and peace lives in the places you actually see and touch every day. That's why the focus zone method works so well. Instead of trying to keep 10 rooms clean, you choose 2 or 3 key areas. Usually those are the kitchen, the bathroom you use, and the main living area. When those are clean, the whole house feels lighter, even if the guest room is hiding secrets. It's not laziness, it's efficiency. And it's a habit rooted in real-life experience. Studies on cognitive load in older adults confirm this. Visual clutter increases stress and reduces mental clarity. But if your most used spaces are clear, your brain feels safer, even if the laundry room is a disaster. That's the beauty of this habit. It gives you the freedom to let go of perfection while still living in a space that nurtures your well-being. For many seniors, this focus brings back a sense of independence. And with it, dignity. They stop chasing the fantasy of a magazine review home and instead create a home that supports their real life. Isn't that what we all want after 70? A place that feels like it loves us back? Let's pause here and reflect. How do your mornings feel? Is your kitchen welcoming or chaotic? Are there parts of your home that drain you and parts that comfort you? You don't need to clean everything, you need to clean what matters most. The nightly reset gives you peace tomorrow. The focus zone habit gives you peace every day. These aren't chores, they're rituals of self-respect. Elderly reflections passed down from experience, built through time. They're small, but their impact stretches into every corner of life. And the best part, you can begin both tonight. In the next section of this video, we'll explore the final 2 habits that truly bring everything together. Why daily maintenance beats deep cleaning, and how involving others, not just yourself, transforms home life into a shared joy rather than a burden. These final insights might be the most powerful of all, especially for those entering a new season of aging with partners, caregivers, or family nearby. So stay with us. Your home doesn't have to be perfect, but it can feel like peace. There's something deeply comforting about a home that doesn't demand too much of you. A home that stays orderly without a weekly battle. A home where you don't have to sacrifice your energy just to feel like things are under control. That kind of home doesn't come from deep cleaning once a month. It comes from something quieter, gentler, something daily. And that brings us to habit 5. Daily maintenance over deep cleaning. It may sound obvious, but for many people, especially as we age, this is a life-changing mindset shift. Seniors with consistently tidy homes don't let dust or clutter build up until it becomes overwhelming. Instead, they treat tidying like brushing their teeth. Just another part of daily life, done in small doses, never left to become a burden. Make Elaine, 68, a retired nurse who once believed that keeping a clean home meant sacrificing her entire weekend. For years, she followed the routine of working hard all week and spending Saturday mornings scrubbing every inch of her house. But after a health scare that left her feeling constantly fatigued, she had to rethink everything. That's when she discovered the power of light, daily maintenance. Now, instead of cleaning for hours once a week, she spends 15 minutes every day after dinner doing a gentle reset. She puts away dishes, she wipes down the stove, she straightens the dining table. Sometimes she sweeps the floor if it needs it. Nothing more, and yet somehow her home is never messy. I don't do deep cleans anymore, she says with a warm smile. Because I don't need to. I never let it get that far. This approach isn't just easier, it's better for your health, especially in your senior years. Deep cleaning can be exhausting, physically risky, and mentally stressful. But tiny acts, wiping, folding, tidying, done daily, not only reduce the need for hard work, they actually help maintain emotional balance. Senior health specialists call this functional cleaning because it supports both your space and your energy. For many older adults, even a few minutes of intentional movement helps maintain mobility, balance, and independence. Daily tidying becomes a kind of therapy, simple, doable, restorative. And this brings us to our final habit, one that might just change your relationship with your home and the people in it forever. Habit 6. Involve the whole household. Keeping a clean home isn't just a solo mission. Seniors who live with others, whether it's a spouse, a family member, or even just frequent visitors, know this truth. When everyone shares the responsibility, peace becomes easier to find, and respect, both for the space and for one another, begins to grow. Let me tell you about Howard and Joan, both in their early 80s, living with their daughter and 2 teenage grandchildren in a multi-generational home in Ohio. For a while, Joan tried to keep up with everything herself. She didn't want to burden anyone, but slowly, the house began to feel more like a weight than a comfort. One day, during dinner, Howard suggested something new. 10 minutes, he said. Just in 10 minutes. Every night, we all do something small. And so a new ritual was born. After dinner, everyone spends 10 minutes picking up. The teens clear the dishes and wipe the counters. Joan folds the throws in the living room. Howard checks the bathroom and takes out the trash. Their daughter runs the vacuum. That's it, no one feels overworked. No one is left out. But most importantly, the home stays clean. Not because one person tries to do everything, but because everyone does a little. This simple habit doesn't just preserve the home. It builds connection. It reinforces the idea that home is shared, and so is the responsibility to care for it. And for seniors, that shared ownership becomes a source of emotional strength. Too many older adults fall into the trap of believing they must either do it all or step aside completely. But there's a beautiful middle ground: collaboration. Asking for help isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It teaches the younger generation the value of maintaining peace, and it allows the older generation to feel empowered rather than overwhelmed. Research shows that seniors who feel useful and included in family routines experience better mental health, less depression, and a greater sense of purpose. It's not just about cleanliness, it's about belonging. So, as we close this final section, let's take a moment to reflect. Which of these 6 habits speaks to you the most? Maybe you already put things away as you move through your home. Maybe you've started wiping down the kitchen every night. Or maybe after hearing this, you're ready to ask your loved ones to help. Just 10 minutes a day. Wherever you are, remember this: your home doesn't have to be perfect to feel peaceful. It quite just needs your presence, your intention, and your willingness to keep the chaos from creeping in through quiet, powerful daily acts. These are not rules. These are not chores. These are life lessons from the elderly, a generation that understands what truly matters, that a peaceful home reflects a peaceful mind, and that the energy we protect in our space becomes the energy we carry into the world. In a time when everything moves fast, let your home be a place that moves slow, that moves gently, that holds you. Whether you live alone or with others, whether your space is big or small, know that you have the wisdom to shape it with calm. And you don't have to do it all at once. Start with one habit, practice it until it feels like part of who you are. Then add the next. Over time, you'll find yourself living in a home that doesn't just look clean, but feels like comfort, clarity, and care.